Military force and oil. Historically, the link is hard to overlook, especially when geopolitical conflicts involve critical energy corridors. The latest example? The US blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. The US-Israel-Iran conflict, now 6 weeks old, has rattled global markets. But let's focus on the Strait of Hormuz. How does the US benefit from its blockade? Blocking the strait gives the US significant leverage over global oil prices. About 20% of global oil supplies passed through the Strait of Hormuz before the conflict began. Restricting that flow, as Iran is already doing, directly tightens global supply and pushes the prices up. Analysts have warned that a full two-way blockade could drive oil prices to around $150 per barrel. Other than impacting global oil prices, the US blockade also targets Iran economically. Cutting off Iran's oil exports would deprive the regime of hard currency needed to sustain its economy, which was already under severe stress before the war. But in doing so, is the US hurting itself and its allies? Since oil is priced globally, if something goes wrong anywhere, the price goes up everywhere, including inside the US and for its allies. So gas prices for US consumers have already risen more than $1.2 per gallon since the war began. And blocking more oil from reaching global markets is likely to deepen domestic pain for the US consumers. So is the blockade about US acquiring leverage then? An estimated 84% of the crude oil shipments through the strait were destined for Asian markets in 2024, with China receiving a third of its oil via the strait. So it seems that the US blockade functions more as leverage over China in Asia than Iran alone. Perhaps the US sees the strait as a strategic checkpoint to pressure China into influencing Tehran to make concessions. In its response, China has accused the US of dangerous and irresponsible behavior over its blockade of Iranian ports, with President Xi Jinping vowing Beijing would play a constructive role in promoting peace in the Middle East. The US has tried multiple levers to keep oil prices in check, coordinating emergency reserve releases, desanctioning Russian and Iranian oil, precisely because the blockade strategy risks sending global and US prices even higher. So even though the current blockade seems less of a price control tool and more a geopolitical pressure tool, it still carries significant economic blowback risks for everyone involved.